From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Prime Minister Mark Carney is in Paris this morning, meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron for his first in-person sit-down with an international leader since becoming PM on Friday. Carney turned 60 years old yesterday and walked in Montreal's St. Patrick's Day parade before kicking off a 3-day trip to France and the UK. Macron invited Carney to the meeting. They're expected to discuss issues related to security in Europe and Canada, as well as trade diversification in the face of America's tariff agenda and its president's threats to annex Canada. Later today, Carney will head to London for talks with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, along with a meeting with King Charles. Prime Minister Mark Carney has not yet spoken to Donald Trump since succeeding Justin Trudeau as PM last Friday, and a call with the U.S. president isn't likely until Carney returns to Ottawa from Europe and Nunavut on Tuesday. But Carney has spoken already with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The PMO says the two were on a call late Sunday, and Carney invited the Ukrainian leader to the G7 summit Alberta is hosting this summer. Now, U.S. President Donald Trump says he'll be speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday. He told reporters of the upcoming conversation while he was flying from Florida to Washington last night. Trump said his team was making good progress toward ending the war in Ukraine and that there could be some sort of announcement on Tuesday.
A lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance.
Devastation across the American South, where more than 60 tornadoes have been reported in 8 states since Friday. Along with the violent twisters, damaging systems also spawned blinding dust storms and fast-moving wildfires, leaving at least 39 people dead. Hudson's Bay is set to be back in court this morning to advance a creditor protection case the retail giant made earlier this month after falling into financial trouble.
The department store holding the title of Canada's oldest company sought safeguards from landlords, suppliers, and other partners it owes money to on March 7th. In its application to the Ontario Superior Court, Hudson's Bay said it was struggling because of subdued consumer spending, trade tensions between Canada and the U.S., and post-pandemic declines in downtown store traffic. A source familiar with the matter told the Canadian Press last week that as part of the creditor protection proceedings, the company is looking at closing 40 of its 80 stores. Michelle Zedekian, the Canadian Press, Toronto.
And a Quebec-born businessman and philanthropist is donating a pile of money to his alma mater to establish an institute dedicated to disruptive innovation. Pierre Lassonde says it's never been as important to invest in homegrown talent, and that's why he's donating $50 million to Polytechnique Montreal. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, NHL action Sunday night, Logan Cooley's goal early in the third period snapped a tie and lifted the visiting Utah Hockey Club to a 3-1 win over the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver captain Quinn Hughes, also with a goal in that game, says his team had chances in the third period but just couldn't capitalize.
I think shot ourselves in the foot with the power play and definitely had our opportunities where we could have cracked open the game.
Dylan Sandberg scored at 1:47 of overtime, and the Winnipeg Jets edged the Seattle Kraken 3-2. Victor Arvidsson's goal in the third period snapped a tie and lifted the visiting Edmonton Oilers to a 3-1 win over the New York Rangers. And in golf, Rory McIlroy and J.J. Spaun are headed for a 3-hole playoff in the morning to decide the Players' Championship. At stake is a $4.5 million prize. Corey Connors of Listowel, Ontario, finished 3 shots back of the co-leaders in a 3-way tie for 6th. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.